Anyone out there remember Ambrosia software? If you're not familiar with Ambrosia, it was a Mac-focused shareware developer and publisher that put out a lot of quality games throughout the 90s and 2000s. If you saw this logo, you knew it was probably a good game. Recently, I was contacted by the developer of a later Ambrosia game, SketchFighter 4000 Alpha. This game was developed by Lost Minds and originally released back in 2006. It was an incredible indie game, great puzzles and lots of action. In recent years, Ambrosia just sort of fell off the face of the planet, leaving several amazing games like SketchFighter in shareware limbo. It's really an unfortunate thing, to be honest. Ambrosia handled the payments and shareware keys for these games, and because of their demise, there is no way to legally obtain these games anymore. The awesome news that I got from Lost Minds was that they were reviving SketchFighter, stripping out all the Ambrosia software code, updating and porting it to modern Mac OS for sale in the Mac App Store. This new version is called SketchFighter 4000 Alpha Revival Edition. That's a mouthful. In this game, you control this little ship here. You can turn, move forward and backwards. There's two buttons to fire. One of the buttons controls your normal cannons and the other lets you shoot rockets. When you start this game, you have a very weak ship with only pellets as a weapon. As you make your way through the zones, you'll find and earn upgraded weapons and different colors for your projectiles. On the top right of the screen here, you can see how many rockets you have, what color of weapon you're using, and what your main weapon is. It also shows the status of your shields. The shields here are your ship's health. If it reaches 0, you explode. Part of this game's charm is the fact that the whole thing looks like it takes place in someone's sketchbook. Very interesting graphic style in my opinion. There's almost no story to this game. I'll tell you, the main objective is to find 10 stars hidden across 5 zones in the game world in order to unlock the barriers to the final boss fight. You really have no idea what you're meant to be doing the whole time, and even when you collect the stars, it doesn't clue you in that you need to be searching for them. Occasionally, there are gates and switches that can only be opened if they're shot with the correct color of weapon. So in some areas to progress, you've got to find different colors, ship upgrades, and new weapons to be able to open up new areas. The game has a Metroidvania design in that sense, where you've got to go back and forth in the game world, upgrading your weapons and ship to unlock new areas. At the beginning of the game, your ship is very weak. Just bumping into walls will damage your ship. Later in the game, you'll get upgrades to your ship, so bumping into the walls doesn't hurt you. There's also upgrades to your ship's shields and upgrades to your weapons. So you'll find the weapons and then you'll find the upgrades for them. This game's got a lot of interesting enemies as well. There are several unique enemies in this game, each behaving differently. For example, the fighter enemies move quick and shoot fast. But these cutie enemies won't attack you unless you hurt them first. And the Mega Destructo mines, well, they'll kill you. There are 33 enemies in this game, each with their own personalities. You can read a bit more about them in the Bestiary section, under Extras at the title screen. You unlock the descriptions of each enemy after you've met them in the game. Overall, I really had no trouble dealing with any of the enemies. It can be tough, especially when you get overwhelmed. But sometimes you just gotta ignore the less aggressive enemies. It'll save you a lot of time because they don't drop any shields or anything. One way you can restore your shields is by finding these save points. It'll refill your health when you hit one of these. Also, there's no shortage of health and rockets throughout the zones. You can break these little blocks that are all over, and sometimes they drop items. The only real times that I felt pressured for health were during the boss battles. Man, some of these got intense. There are both mini bosses here as well as big bosses. Big bosses. I'm not going to spoil the ending in this video, but I gotta say that the last enemy in the game is a big surprise. Something that you probably would not guess, but once you see it, it all makes perfect sense. My favorite part of this game was probably navigating through the forest zone. Not only is it confusing to navigate with all its twists and turns, but the freaking screen rotates, adding a whole other level of confusion. There's this part where you've got to race through the forest and find the finish line in just 25 seconds. So you're speeding down the paths, and the screen is flipping all around trying to confuse you. Man, that was great. I also enjoyed the music in this game. All of the different zones have their own tunes, most of which sound pretty good and fit the areas well in my opinion. The only criticism that I have of this game is that it has no native controller support, and it screams, "Play me with the controller." And I listened. I had to use another program, Joystick Mapper, to map the keyboard to my gamepad. It's got in-game keyboard-only controls, but you do have to use the mouse to deal with the menus and the in-game messages. But I do have to say, it is extremely playable with a controller. I played through the entire thing with one. Also, why is this game still Mac exclusive? I totally get it with the original version. There was a lot of pride within the Mac community back then, and they were Mac versus PC days. Choose your team. But it's different nowadays. Well, I feel like it's different. Maybe I'm wrong, but this game should totally be cross-platform on Steam. I think that there are a lot of people out there that would enjoy this game, but unfortunately being Mac only means that it's probably not going to get in front of a lot of people. Also, with Apple moving away from Intel processors, this game will once again be lost to time, assuming that Lost Mines doesn't update it again. But I guess get it while you can. If you haven't played this before, you'll get at least a few hours of good gameplay. I love seeing developers bring back their awesome products, and that's exactly what this is. Awesome. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got some interesting stuff in the works over here. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it because it really helps these videos out. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.